We don't really have an introduction, do we?
We don't. Let's just make one on the fly. Hi, my name is Arvin Agtrap.
And I'm David.
Oh, and I'm Shiloh.
And this is our very first podcast, WonUp, the geek shell inherent to the earth. And we have lots of stuff to talk about. Well, not lots, but a bit.
Yeah, for a first episode, I mean, we have a decent amount, I'd say.
Yeah, some really cool kind of topics. We're going to talk about video games, why, like, video game re-releases, why should that happen, some graphic stuff.
Go back into my history of video gaming and the first video game that I ever played as a child.
And some stuff with...
And just talking about the process of how farming and simulation farming games have kind of come up from just Harvest Moon and branched off into other spots like Slime Rancher and Stardew Valley
and all that kind of stuff.
Other applicable ones.
Now, to be fair, this podcast isn't going to necessarily be 100% about video games or by itself, right? Like I was telling David a couple of days ago, what I actually really wanted to talk about was about AMD's Ryzen processors, but since Threadripper is apparently doing really well, I'm not going to touch that subject until I know more about it. But it's going to just be, what would you call it? Just an all-around geek podcast, I guess.
Yeah. When if there's like an interesting story that comes up, or like if a movie just comes out, or a game just comes out, we want to discuss about it for a little bit. That's pretty much what this is. So this first podcast is going to be about half an hour, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, just to keep it short and simple. Just to kind of do it like this is like the pilot episode, just to see how it goes, to iron out anything that we think needs ironing out.
The crudest of pilot episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, we are sitting on a couch and, have Wow Chicken kind of all around us.
French fries and fried chicken and like Red Bull and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this could be cruder, but I like the way that it's kind of going right now.
It's cozy.
Exactly.
It's very cozy.
The way I actually envisioned this was very simple. It was, how Shiloh, David, and we have a group of friends, and anytime we hang out, we're always talking about this kind of shit anyways, right? It's mostly, video games, memes, the comic book movies. Like, I don't know, I guess my vision for this was to just record that and kind of make that available so that it's just not us that's being tortured by Matthew's memes. So
No!
we're going worldwide now, guys. We're going worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's get into it. Who wants to start? Do you want me to go or
You know what? It doesn't matter. How about we rock, paper, scissors for it?
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, shit. Arvin.
I win.
Okay.
God damn it, Arvin.
You never keep going scissors, guys.
Shut the hell up. Like, usually that works.
Nothing
smart
beats
ass.
rock except paper.
Give me a second. I'll get, like, firecracker or something.
What's this? It's fire.
It's fire. Anyways, so my topic was actually it comes from my childhood. When I first got into video games, because my parents would visit my uncle, Tito Alan is what I would call him, and
Tito.
Yeah, Tito. It's a Filipino word for uncle, for anyone wondering. So the thing is, I always hated visiting family because, it's boring as hell for someone my age, right? I think I was maybe 9, 10, 11. I don't really know how old I was at the time, but I was young and I really hated visiting family. Tito Allen's was different though. Like, he lived in this small apartment. It wasn't, as grandiose as some of the family that we'd be visiting, sure, but I always loved visiting him because he had a computer that had Age of Empires.
Oh,
like,
God.
that to me was
Empires.
the best thing in the world. Now, the thing is, I never really understood very much of the game. I liked playing it though, because he would, teach me how to actually play it.
Mm-hmm.
So it became very, very quickly this part of me visiting family. Yes, I really like visiting him because of that. But recently, very, very recently, I was, I woke up alarm blaring, cat like pawing at my face to feed her and stuff.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. I go get my own food. I go get my breakfast, and I'm sitting at my computer, and I always open up Reddit. Like that's 100% what I do every morning.
Is your ritual?
Exactly. And the first link on our videos was the Age of Empires 4 announcement. Mm-hmm. And I freaked. Like, I was legitimately, like, standing up, rice coming out of my mouth and dancing. Because I was so excited. I mean, it didn't show very much, which is kind of why it's so silly. It didn't show a lot of what the game was. It's literally just an announcement. And I was still ridiculously excited because, you know, again, this game was a big part of my childhood growing up. It was literally the first video game that I have ever played as a child and have played since. The funny thing is, I actually remember my uncle teaching me how to play it multiplayer-wise, and he would keep building like 7 castles put together, and that to me just did not make any sense because, you know, where in the world would you find 7 castles put together? But apparently it was a good defense, and kind of just opened me up to all of that, right?
I was gonna question that. I was like, wait, you had to get taught to play? I just did random shit until I won.
Yep.
Well,
that's how that worked.
Well, you know what? And a lot of the video games I played after the fact, that was the case, right? Like, I'd play Warcraft 3, I'd play Red Alert 2, like, games like that. But it actually got me started into this RTS genre, which I have loved ever since. It's unfortunate now that really the only thing that's out there that's a good RTS nowadays, anyways, or at least AAA release, is StarCraft.
Right? You mean these days?
Yeah, these days, right? I mean, name another one. Like, the Command and Conquer series has kind of gone down the drain since. Empire Earth had maybe one, which I loved, by the way. It's unfortunate, but the RTS scene has kind of gone to the wayside.
Yeah. Well,
there was one that I liked playing that just kind of fell off the face of the earth, too, and it literally had to do with, like, oh, I can't remember. It was like light and dark, black and white.
Black and white, yeah. See, that was probably the last really good one.
That was so
I love
good.
that one. Actually,
Even to have a giant panda that destroyed stuff, I was like, yes.
Because why not? So with the RTS thing going, I'm gonna be talking about a little bit later. But there was the re-release, right? For StarCraft, which I think in that sense, and I've heard it's cheap. I haven't really looked into it, and I do want to buy it. But I think it's like $15, which is pretty cheap. But yeah, like them re-releasing StarCraft with updated textures and all that kind of stuff, I think is really good, especially because it's like a almost 20-year-old game.
Yeah, thereabouts actually. And
it's still a good game. It's like it's the classic. Right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Like. And they did that actually with the release of StarCraft 2. They didn't. They didn't do a remaster, but they actually re-released Brood War and StarCraft on a USB when I purchased it. And I remember this. Okay. I actually lined up for the release of StarCraft 2. And the funny thing is, I got to line up inside the mall because I worked in the mall and I knew the manager for the EB games.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else was lined up outside in the cold. So when they opened the doors at midnight, everyone was kind of just like running to the EB games. Yeah. And they turn the corner and they see me and I'm like, hey guys, what's up? They're like, what? We were waiting outside. I'm like, perks, biatch. So yeah, it was great. But actually, for re-releases and remasters, if you take a look at, actually, again, back to Age of Empires. Like, Age of Empires HD Edition has made my life. Like, I'm playing through the Age of Kings right now. I'm playing through the Joan of Arc line, and I am back to being, like, 7 at this point. I'm like, yes! Yeah, Joan of Arc!
Yeah, and a while ago, I decided to, this was like 2 years ago, I decided to buy, StarCraft and Brood War, just from the, I guess Blizzard has like a classics page or whatever. I just bought it. It was like really cheap, but I played that when I was probably 11 or 12 on my like old Windows 98 computer and all that. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then of course I got into the cheats and started doing all the cheats. Like there's no cow level and and I forget all the cheats, but yeah, it was just so much fun. Just be like, oh, I have all the resources and all the money. I'm gonna build everything. Yeah,
I have to say,
really
like,
cool.
even so, like, me growing up, one of my first games that I played was, like, you know, the old Marios and stuff like that, but also, like, Civ. And Civ in black and white. And even though I wasn't, like, a real big fan of the genre, like, those two are still really great games.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't like super into it doesn't mean that like I don't have moments of my life where I'm just like, I need to go back and play those games.
Yeah,
It's just I just need to turn my brain off and do some random shit and conquer some goddamn land.
Yeah.
It's like, how hard is that?
I love that this is a thing though. Like the whole banking on the people that can pay for stuff right now, which really is us, the 20-somethings and forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
We now have money. So, I mean, I don't, but
in
general, this generation...
We're just going to have, like, money with quotations around them, like, money.
We are now the paying class, so we now dictate what's coming out. And I love that, because you keep seeing it. You keep seeing rehashes of old things. You keep seeing, remakes of old video games. You keep seeing sequels of old video games, because now they're banking on that nostalgia. Of course it can go wrong.
Which I'm going to be talking about in a minute.
The absolute issue there.
Yeah, so let's go into that. So when was this? This was a couple days ago. Now transitioning into kind of something else. I learned through the NVIDIA GeForce website that Final Fantasy 15 is getting a re-release on PC. I'm like, okay, this happens all the time. But they were really boasting, like... hyping up like all these graphics and okay, I have it written down. From a quote from that actual article, it said, with the integration of NVIDIA Flow, NVIDIA Hairworks, NVIDIA Hybrid Frustum Traced Shadows, NVIDIA Turf Effects, and NVIDIA Voxel Ambient Occlusion, we have helped Square Enix achieve the ultimate version of Final Fantasy 15. I'm like...
Because we need more fabulous airflow.
Cool. Who cares? Okay, so Final Fantasy 15. It was a cool game. It
was pretty good.
The gameplay, I liked how they did action RPG rather than turn-based. Because Final Fantasy 13, I was very disappointed by because it was like a hallway and then.
It wasn't though.
Yeah. So 15, I liked the direction.
The character designs though.
Yeah. The character designs for Final Fantasy have always been really cool. But
it's just like.
Yeah, like the gameplay was pretty cool. The characters were cool. Like it was already a really pretty game. But like re-releasing it with better graphics and all this kind of stuff, like it's not gonna make the story make any more sense.
Yep.
I was reading it was actually but a few of the comments on it were talking about, oh, nobody cares about the story because it was such a mess. But I'm like, excuse me, but Final Fantasy has always been about the story,
Agreed.
Right?
Absolutely.
So like saying you don't care about the story when it comes to Final Fantasy, it's like what? But it's
why
okay.
the hell are you playing it?
Yeah. So this kind of goes more into
the online one. Then I'm just kind of like.
Oh yeah, like MMOs and stuff like that. Yeah. But that kind of started me thinking about re-releases in general. Are they necessary? Aren't they? What's the good? What's the bad about it? And stuff like that. And I was thinking about this the other night, like a couple nights ago when I kind of thought of this topic. If I think of Metal Gear Solid, right? The first one, really great story, really great gameplay, really cool characters, all that kind of stuff. But it was a PS1. The graphics were like...
Very PS1.
Very PS1. Exactly. So I was thinking if they re-released Metal Gear Solid with like completely updated graphics, all that kind of stuff, but same gameplay, same like everything, I would buy the shit out of that like instantly.
Well, from the perspective of someone who... The only Metal Gear Solid game I've ever played is Metal Gear Solid 5.
Which was still a good game besides the story.
It was great, but... The graphics really helped get me into the game, but by the end of it, I was like, I need to know more about the story of this universe.
Yeah.
Of course, I download an ISO for the PS1 game. I'm going to start from the very beginning. I do the emulator.
The very beginning was on the what is it called? It was Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. So with pixels and...
I knew that too, but I was like, I'm going to start with the PS1 game. Because
that's
I could probably stomach the graphics in this one. I was wrong.
No.
So,
like a lot of the cutscenes, like they zoom up into their faces, but they have no faces.
Yeah, it's like textured so badly. It's I think it's necessary only because of the fact that, some people would have missed it, right? Some people would have absolutely missed games that are iconic, like Metal Gear Solid. And if you maybe update it for today's graphics, or even just a little bit better, I think I would play it too.
Well, there was Twin Snakes, which came out on GameCube, and that was pretty much the same game, but it was a little more ridiculous, and I haven't really looked into it. And I think it's kind of looked down upon, or held at a lesser regard than the first one. But even then, it's still like, it still has pretty decent graphics. But yeah, like some of the old stuff, Metal Gear Solid is just like hard to watch.
Oh yeah, nowadays,
it's ridiculous.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, if you think about it back then, one of the games that I like to keep coming back to is Peter Molyneux's Fable. If you guys remember that, like I loved that game. Right, I loved Fable. I loved the Lost Chapters. I loved that game so
Fable
much.
Fable is good, yeah.
Of course, when I found an Xbox and I purchased the actual disc for Fable, pop it in, I'm like, this is not how I remember this. And this isn't even that long ago. This is within the last decade or so that I played this. And it's still aged so badly. If you play games, on the other hand, that have been remastered, like same game cap, better textures, better models, sure, and you do the same thing, kind of like in Fable, where they released the remastered version of it, it still doesn't hold up. That's my issue with it, right? I mean, there are some games that will hold up to remastering. There are. And typically that's isometric games like, like Age of Empires, the Age of Empires 2, games like that, or Diablo. Diablo is going to look amazing if you just, up the textures on that, because it doesn't show its age. You take games, on the other hand, like Final Fantasy VII.
And then you play like the original Final Fantasy VII, which is like, okay, it's polygons everywhere. And then there's like, I was even thinking about this before we started. There's re-releases and then remakes, because they're remaking Final Fantasy VII. Same story, same setting, same character, but completely overhauling the graphics, texture, game design, all that kind of stuff.
So it won't have little octagons and triangles?
No. Well, and I think that's the better way to do
weird,
it.
Little, fist hands, squared fist hands running around.
What was the FF7 game that came out on PSP? I don't remember what it was. The Sega? Something like that.
No.
Crisis Core?
Crisis Core.
Yeah, that game. Like, I actually purchased that game for the PSP thinking, I'll finally get to play Final Fantasy VII.
No, that was before Final Fantasy VII.
Which I didn't realize, but I loved it. Again, I loved it. Same thing.
Yeah, I didn't play. I should play it though, but I didn't play it. But I think it was still pretty good. With it mainly focused on Cloud and Zack, right? Yeah, and they're kind of no, Zack died.
Let's see if they took Final Fantasy VII. The first release of Final Fantasy VII with the weird polygon and then just retextured that, it's going to look like crap. Remake the game, keep the story, keep the feel, keep everything about it except for how gaudy the graphics look. Just remake that, and I think you'd have a good thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like in StarCraft. Brood War, isometric game, sure. It would have looked great even if they didn't overhaul the entire thing, but then they came out with the new StarCraft, and it's the only RTS game that's on the map right now.
Yeah. You mean the remaster?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But that, kind of going back to my original point, for Final Fantasy 15 being released on PC, with updated graphics, with all this extra stuff into it, who cares? It's I don't see. I really, don't see the point. Other than look how good my PC is. Jerk off.
Master Race.
Yeah, because a lot of most of the comments were actually oh, my PC's gonna run this because it has a blank card, or I should buy a new computer because blank, and it's the
race of the biggest dick.
Yeah, and that's all it is. It's become a dick measuring contest. That's all it is.
PC Master Race. Yeah. No, but it's I just don't understand, because Final Fantasy 15, it was an okay game, but I don't think I'd replay it.
I don't think I'd rebuy it on my PC
Yeah,
just
and
so
that
I could
too.
have better hair flow. It's like, I'm never going to live if I don't know how fluffy his hair actually is. It's like,
oh
you
no,
kidding
this
me?
grass doesn't look as good as it should. Oh my god.
It's like, do you see this little single blade of grass? I can now. It's like, you just need to chill with that. Like, sometimes it's okay not to buff up everything.
Yeah,
Like, it's cool. Like, even for... I was looking into a bunch of mods for, like, Skyrim and everything just to make the game look, like, a little bit prettier.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, they have some insane ones to make it, like, ultra-realistic. And I'm like, it's gorgeous, but the lag would kill me.
Yeah, but...
It's like, I would turn around and be like, 20 years later.
But with that is a free mod for an
That's
already
true.
existing game. They're
True.
not re-releasing it
Well,
with
I
all
don't
this
really
extra
know
stuff.
if, like, the ultra-real engine, like, are free. Maybe...
I think some of them are paid for now.
It depends on what... Yeah, because Bethesda is doing, like... I forget what they called it.
Because I can't foresee somebody putting that much f***ing work into detailing a goddamn bark of a tree and not asking for any kind
Look
of
at this
money.
branch! Isn't it pretty?
Like, if the person who did that, like, isn't asking for money, props to him, but also, goddamn, sir, like, you need to do something else.
The modding community is great because of that, right?
Yeah.
They'll always, and that's why I love the modding community. And even in the whole vein of remastering these games, the modding community is amazing for that. Because I cannot stomach Oblivion.
Oh god, yes.
There is no way.
Or I tried playing Morrowind and nope.
Yeah, but the thing is, you throw on like 100 gigs worth of mods onto it, and at least you can play it for the story. The thing is, there's a line, I think, between remastering a game solely to milk money, and then there's remaking the game to kind of just make it accessible for people today. Like, if my brother got into video games right now, like 100%, I would want him to play games like Fable. I would want him to play games like Age of Empires, the games that I grew up with. But remakes, remastering, like just throw on a bunch of new textures onto it, it's not gonna get in there.
Like the Final Fantasy 15 thing, I think that's what you just said, milking money out of people. That's what I think it is. But like, if you say buy Switch or like a Wii U, even if they still make those, I don't think they do anymore. But like thinking to the Virtual Console, you can buy a bunch of really classic, really essential games for super cheap. And like, if somebody's getting into video games, I was thinking about this a while ago. Like, if somebody came up to me and they're like, I have never played a video game, but I want to get into video games. What game should I play? Super Mario Bros. Right? The very first platformer ever. I think that would be the perfect intro to that, right? But with that, you can even just get it on the Wii, I think, too, for super cheap. So, yeah, where am I going with that? I don't know, but like,
Train of thought lost. It's fine.
It doesn't, like, when it comes to remasters and all that kind of stuff. I think they have to pick and choose, because some of them are money grabs, but others I think are essential to be able to introduce new people to old classics.
100%.
Yeah. Like I picked up Kingdom Hearts, like the 1.5, 2.5 remix kind of thing. It was $60. But one point I have on here is it has the majority of the games on one disc, so I don't have to search around for a bunch of games. 6 games are on one disc for $60. That's pretty good. There's like easily at least 100, maybe more than 100 hours worth of gameplay in total on that, and it'll keep somebody interested for a long time. But yeah, it's just, I don't know.
It's just dismaying seeing games like the Final Fantasy remake that you're seeing.
Yeah.
And the only way that they're trying to grab people's attention is, look how flowy this hair is.
Yeah, but it's like I loved like some of the Final Fantasy stories in the past, right? This one is like, what? And then you had to watch the like the Kingsglaive movie to go with it, and then the anime, and then like
I appreciate that, but that just means that's more money I have to put into something. And it's like, why couldn't you just give me that?
You should be able to tell the story in the game. Like you could, like, I know Halo has lots of books and stuff to supplement the game, but they're not essential to understanding the main story of the game.
I think at the end of the day, what's going to be nice is that video games are made to make money, right? And at the end of the day, if a game is 100% just that it's a money grab, people vote with their money.
Yep.
I'm hoping this does come out. I'm hoping that some idiot out there goes, oh, I have 2 Titans in my computer. I'm going to buy this to show off. And they find out that the game absolutely sucks. That's what I hope. Because you know what? That's going to be a very, very small majority of people. Minority of people. Mm-hmm. It's the majority who are going to look at that and go, yeah, no, that was probably the shittiest Final Fantasy game. And you're making it less shitty by giving me flowy hair. No thanks, I'm not giving you $60.
Yeah.
That's the hope, and I think at the end of the day, maybe we'll stop seeing things like the new Power Rangers movie where they try to make everything all pretty in 2017.
Gold.
So that's my point.
Why do they need heels? Why?
Okay.
How is that even? No.
Okay, so
I swear to God. If we have to sit here and have stupid lady costumes with heels on them, every guy needs to wear those too, and let's see them trying to kick ass. It's like, you go yourself there. Give me some sneakers or a boot.
Cyborg Raiden from Metal Gear, he has heels, and he can kick some serious ass. Never mind.
I mean, everyone, though. It can't just be
Yeah, true. So, from that, onto something completely different. Farming simulator games. Not Farming Simulator,
not
games...
Not the stupid Farming Simulator where I just walk around with a weird crop duster thing. I don't know. I just see the little picture of it. I don't actually click on the thing. I don't want to know anything about that.
So the farming genre game
farming genre game closely to Harvest Moon-esque games where that was kind of it that you had for those kind of simulation games where just tranquil building a family, building a farm, just like that.
Oh, Harvest Moon on the SNES?
Yeah, Harvest Moon on the SNES. That was
then...
around... It was what am I going with?
Wasn't there something like that for the DS? I don't remember what...
Oh, there is.
There's that's the thing. Harvest Moon is the one that coins most of that kind of genre. And only now, recently, am I seeing more...
A resurgence.
Of it. People actually want it. People are more interested.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people from the childhood days of playing Harvest Moon are now actually, starting to make games like Slime Rancher is coming out.
Yeah,
literally go out and you're...
The full version just came out.
It
just came out of beta not too long ago.
And you're you're just ranching small little slimes. It doesn't even have to be animals. It's just freaking...
Yeah, exactly.
Slimes with faces.
Slimes with different characteristics.
Such a great game for the simplicity that it is of just you're farming goddamn slimes. I'm going out there. I'm sucking up slimes. I'm using their poop for cash. It is adorable and it's so great. And then they're putting so much work into that game. It's amazing. And it's the same thing with Stardew Valley. That guy completely made the game on his freaking own. And he was he was another one that was just heavily influenced by Harvest Moon and wanted to make a Harvest Moon-esque game. But I find it really great that he was able to make his storyline, his characters, they have more of a feeling to their characters. Harvest Moon always, really great, but the depth of their characters were always just kind of
you're a farmer.
Yeah, or it's oh, I'm I feel like I'm not the greatest woodworker. And then it's oh, don't worry about it, buddy. You're pretty great. That's the depth of a character. And they don't really have too much, but going back to Stardew Valley, his characters, they actually put a lot of thought into it. Where
they're more dynamic.
Yeah, there's the one jock that they have there. I can't remember, Alex, I think his name is. And if you get to know him, it gets pretty dark. His parents died, and he's living with his grandma. And
spoilers.
Sorry, Jesus. Just talk to Alex. He's a great character. 10 out of 10 character.
I only do say spoilers because I have been recommended Stardew Valley over and over and over again, and I'm pretty sure
the goddamn game.
And I'm pretty sure 90% of the recommendations have come from Shiloh.
Yes. Yeah.
But the thing is, it's interesting that you touched on that for the original game being not as dynamic of characters, not as deep of characters, because I think that's what turned me off of those games. I mean, I have not played a farming game since one of the Harvest Moons. I don't even remember it was that unmemorable to
Yeah.
me because I looked at it and I was like, why do I care about these characters at all?
Yeah, there's like no emotional connection. Like, I love Harvest Moon to death. Like, I love Harvest Moon all the way up to like Rune Factory. Rune Factories are great just because they are a combination of an action adventure and farming, so it gives me the both things that I need in life. It's like I need to fight some things and I need to farm some goddamn carrots. Just leave me alone. It's like these potatoes need to be harvested over here, but I also gotta kick the shit out of that, whatever that demon is over in that corner. It's fine.
I need to.
And it's like, and then you get like these fluffy little like woolly things, and it's just like, look at this like sheep rabbit thing over here. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm ranching this. But like, it's just such a great thing that's like coming out, and just the depth that's coming. It could go from something so simple as to like Slime Rancher, where like there isn't a lot of things for you to connect with because it's just you alone on a planet with slimes, and the only communication that comes through is like letters that you'll occasionally get from
you're
things.
pretty much by yourself, and it's sci-fi, and like what'd you say? It's very like fantastical in that there's no technology that we have. It's just like a completely fantastical sci-fi imagining.
It is in its own self, but then you also get like Stardew Valley, where like it is an emotional connection to each and every of those characters. Like, I don't know about the girls yet because I haven't really talked to any of them, like had a relationship with any yet. I've just been like doing the guys, and like don't even Ireland, don't even, goddamn. But so going through like most, and for some reason, like I particularly don't usually go up to like one guy and be like, yeah, that's the one that I want. I'm just gonna like continuously work with him. I'll usually go and I'll make sure to hit every single one of them every day to like get them all up to the same points, and then I'll figure out which one is the one that I actually like the most. And like, I find it more like real life with Stardew Valley, just for the fact that like you could have somebody with like a really deep background, or you could have somebody like Sam who doesn't like have that many problems. He's just there, kind of thing. He's just like, hey, it's like, these are the things that I like. I'm actually pretty okay with my life. My family life is okay. And it's like, and that's just kind of realistic, where you will find those people. And like, some people are probably just like more interested in that, and like some people are more interested in like, hey, that guy has like a deeper connection to me because he's,
for whatever reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason that you're interested in them, or like teen angst up there with Sebastian.
Yeah, true. And I just want to point on Stardew Valley. It was the first game of its kind in a while that did incredibly successful. Granted, it was in development for a long time. It had a lot of hype, but
it kept up with that hype.
It kept up with the hype, and it delivered 100%, or just about 100%. Because you think of No Man's Sky, that had a lot of hype behind it, and then we all know how that went.
It looked so gorgeous, and then you played.
But yeah, it's really cool to see like a resurgence of those kind of games, because they can be super addicting. And like Slime Rancher is incredibly fun. It's so cute. It is more sci-fi based rather than like Stardew Valley or Rune Factory being more like fantasy. But it is cool, and they are addicting, and they are really fun, and they're really cute, and it's really fun to play them.
Yep, especially when you get like little cows and stuff.
Little
chickens.
So you guys did mention that it just came out, right?
Oh, what?
The Slime Rancher?
Slime Rancher, the full version
came out of beta. Like, the actual game, I think you can buy it on early access like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And it was still pretty fun then. But the full version just came out month ago, 2 months ago, something like that. Okay,
so here, again, being a person who has 100% always been playing video games with guns, because that's how I got into video games. Again, I've mentioned farming games were never my thing. I tried it. It was okay. I didn't really find it that memorable. So here's my question. Here's my question to kind of just lead us off into the end here. With the success of video games like Stardew Valley, again, causing this whole resurgence in games like this, Slime Rancher, sorry, is that a money grab, or is that something that you think could be successful on its own? I'm gonna say something else. It's also a first-person shooter. It's not really a shooter, but it is first-person, and
it's unique because you're farming these things called slimes on this distant planet, like you're a slime adventure. But each of these slimes have different personalities. Like there's a lava one, there's a honeycomb, there's like ice, there's water, there's like radioactive, there's like what else? There's like cat ones. There's
he's
like
a little
bird
bandit
ones.
one. He's like a cat, and he kind of looks like a raccoon.
No, there's cats, but there's also raccoons.
No, it's
just a cat.
Oh no, there's the cat, and there's also the hunter cat, which
looks
like a little raccoon.
Yeah. But I think it is pretty. I think by itself, if that Harvest Moon farming genre didn't exist, I think Slime Rancher would still be very successful because it is fun, it is addicting, it's super cute, it's super colorful, it's super easy to learn, super easy to play.
It's also one of those things that like you don't really see very often too. Like I feel like it's something that like somebody just sat down and like really thought about and was like, this, I kind of like this kind of genre, but nobody really has this right now.
And it's also the first, as far as I know, first person farming simulation type game, because like all
I believe it is.
All the previous ones like Rune Factory, Hearts of the Moon, they've always been top down, kind of pixely kind of type deal. So that's a really interesting. What's the word? Really
it's an interesting take on it.
Yeah, interesting take on that whole genre.
Slime Rancher also has little villains, and they're like the tar slimes that try to eat all your other slimes.
Yeah.
So,
and you have to attack them.
Yeah, you gotta shoot water at them, or you can pick them up and throw them into the ocean. That's my favorite thing.
There's also a lot of exploration you can do. So, like for me, I love exploring things and like finding new things and all that kind of stuff. So
you can get a little jetpack and you can fly around, and that's pretty great.
Yep.
And then you can find these like giant slimes in like hidden spots and locations all over the place, and then you have to like overfeed them until they explode.
Yeah. So it's fun.
They'll give you keys and portals.
If you haven't checked it out, check out Slime Rancher. I don't know how much it is, but I don't think it's too expensive. Also,
it's a pretty great game.
E3, I think Nintendo announced another Harvest Moon game coming out, but they mentioned the Stardew Valley in their like press conference or something like that.
Oh my god!
Which I was so I laughed to myself. I'm like, okay, it actually made it. So
10 out of 10.
So yeah, we are pretty much out of time here because I have to go to work, and I think that was a really good first episode. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this has been WonUp. We will post this ASAP because I can just do all that stuff because I have the files and all that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am David.
I'm Marvin.
I'm Shadow.
And if you want to discuss anything, you can comment on this. We'll have this on YouTube, SoundCloud, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, SoundCloud. We'll post this to our Facebook page, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, have a good day.
See you later.